Time to leave. That was Sinner. She was like,
Let's Make It Clear podcast. Simple and human about startups. I'm your host, Anastasia. If you're thinking about building your own company or just want to get into the field, we will learn about the startups in Europe and the driving forces behind them. Welcome, and let's make it clear. Feisty. It's an English-speaking, women-only health club and movement in Prague. And I was making a mistake in pronouncing this word in this world for too long until I started preparing for the interview.
mm-hmm.
I was reading it as Feisty. It's actually pronounced as Feisty. You're remembering that?
When you said feisty, I was thinking about the other EI words, and they're not I. It's like wait.
So many people spell it wrong, and it was something for ages that we were like, it's just not great.
You need to add this how like it's being pronounced.
We did in one of the first posts.
And when we have
in the
gym,
design,
the actual physical location, we want to have it in check underneath it. Like, what does it mean? So like, Czech people won't know what it is. It's just a name of a company at the start. But when you learn what the meaning is behind it, it's like, oh, that's nice. That's thoughtful.
Founders of this big project, ambitious project, is Jess, who is right here, and Harriet. Jess comes with psychology and clinical neuroscience background, also comes in a background from sales, and Harriet has education in criminology, but her whole life right now is about creative, and she's creative powerhouse. Both football athletes, playing for Prague Raptors.
Oh, sorry. I was closing my eyes for so long.
I was about to say that like both professional football players.
We're like that.
Can't even do a high five.
But they are.
He's like, believe me.
Both refused to wait for permission to build what women need. Both took a leap to build something that doesn't exist yet. Meanwhile, truly matters. The values that you stand on are empowerment, belonging, and authenticity. In a world that tells women to shrink, behave, and fit into whatever space is available, you two decided to create a space that fits the woman.
Mm-hmm.
And the only men allowed are dogs, which honestly I relate to.
I think it's fair.
And babies.
And babies.
Yeah.
Dogs and babies.
Yeah. And bodyguards if we need them. Unfortunately.
We'll just get Alice.
On the first event, we needed a bodyguard.
And the baby stepped in.
The baby did
What
step
more
in.
do you need?
Feisty, a word that for too long was been used to make strength seem small, to praise but only within limits, normally reserved for individuals and animals that are not inherently potent or powerful. And literally one of your values states to act according to our values, no matter how hard it is, no matter how we are judged. Quote, Feisty.
But the values, like, you as a company, I think that's one of the first things that you need to do. And it also needs to align with your own values.
Yeah.
Because if you pick a company and you put values there that you don't inherently live, it's not going to work.
And how do you take your like own values out of yourself? Because not many people actually like know themselves that good to like even come up with values.
I think we know we know ourselves. Both of us are very aware, self-aware, and like self-reflective. So it definitely helps. Because as you said, a lot of people aren't. But I think that we're very in tune with ourselves, and obviously we were friends before, so we kind of already knew that we hit a lot of each other's values. Actually, because we did sit down, we had a proper brainstorming session when we were coming up with like the basics with the name, the direction we wanted to go with rather. They are values that are just important to us and are important to the cause in general. And I think that it's something, the concept as a whole, trying to build women up and create space for women is something that's been really important to both of us as long as I can remember, and I'm sure as long as you can remember as well, since you were young playing football. So we kind of already knew that, and then everything else really aligned super well, which is quite rare, I would say.
Our values were aligned as friends. And then when we came up with them, like it was kind of easy, I think.
Yeah, we weren't struggling. In fact, we had too many in the beginning, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like, oh, but this is also important, oh, but this. And
then we just had to prioritize. Yeah. I remember we had like a paid whiteboard, you know, like with like 50 values. Like, like 20 values. We were like, but then it's like, okay, what is the essential things that we need to live by?
Yeah, a lot of them would stream into a bigger overarching value, but yeah.
Who are you doing it for?
Everyone. But we both have like our own internal reasons.
For me, it's really just, it's not even like my younger self. No, I think it's just a growing kind of rage that I had. And especially, you know, you mentioned that I studied criminology. A lot of the modules were also sociology and like the gender of society, basically. And I would go to these freaking classes and I'd just be sitting there, and the majority of the room were women, obviously, and there would be like 2 guys, and then the lecturers just spit in facts about how women have been like pushed down for centuries and how we're not taking seriously, and you know, we're excluded from studies that even are about your personal health. And I would come back to my parents when I came back for holidays and I was like, did you know this and this and this? So for me, it's just something that would bug me. When society is set up for half of the population, and probably less than half if you look at other statistics or things. But yeah, I was just so annoyed that you have a foot down, basically. I was just enraged for so long.
I would say, I think you have to do it internally for yourself, like first. And for me, I'm sorry, you've heard this like 100 times, but like when I used to play football, when I played for Chelsea when I was younger, I was about 12 years old when I first started, and the boys would be paid and the girls wouldn't be paid. And I remember asking my mum and dad, I was like, why don't we get paid? And like they couldn't give me an answer at that age, and I just like, it was one of the things that just stuck with me, and I just refused to accept. I was like, what? Like, I was just born a girl and they were just born a boy. Like, how? Like, my brain just didn't register it, and I was just like, this cannot be. Then as life went on, I learned about the patriarchy and the world revolves around men.
That needs to be a t-shirt. As life went on, I learned about the patriarchy.
Yeah. And it was just something that continued to piss me off. I was into sports. I was into the things that boys were into. And we were always like second-class citizens. And I've just never kind of got over it. And you know, it was, you know, a trend that went through my whole life. And then I was in Belgium having a burnout, not in a great place in my life. And I was in the gym and I was moving like a box to reach the pull-up bars. And I was like, why do I have to move the pull-up bars? Why are the pull-up bars my size? And then I stood in the box and I was looking around the gym and I was like, the women are in the corners of the gym trying to balance these bars on themselves to do glute bridges. And the men are just walking around confidently. Like, it's not their fault, but like this whole place is designed for them to feel confident and empowered. And I was like, can I swear? Yeah. I was like, fuck this shit. I was like, I can't reach the bloody pull-up bars. But in that moment, I was like, I need to do something. And I think if you don't have your why, don't have your internal reason, when it gets really tough, you're going to give up. So I'm doing it for myself, but also for all of the girls that I know are going to follow that path, and I want it to be different.
I'm having goosebumps.
Can I change my answer to that one as well?
No, I get angry and like emotional about it, you know, like, and it's not just, it's like there's the intersectionality. Like, I'm a white woman. Yeah. So I have the privilege of being white, and, you know, coming from England, so many people have it so much worse. And this is just one thing that has happened in our lives. But I just hate that if you're in a minority, you get treated differently in life. I hate unfairness.
Well, not even treated differently, like everything is set up. I wouldn't say against you because, you know, as you said, we have certain privileges. But yeah, without you in mind, like a big thing for us is talking about women as the default. Whereas that's not the case for most of society right now in the first world anyway. You can't comprehend the differences, and it's just purely because of gender. And I had so many discussions with people because I was really passionate about it at the time. Well, still now, but then I was, because it was just so relevant for what I was studying, and I was immersed in it basically every day. And people would say, oh yeah, but you know, the majority of people earning over this are men, or the majority of scientists are men. And I was like, what kind of stupid argument is that? And you have to remind people how, like, it was illegal for women to have a bank account X amount of years ago, and it's so much more recent than people think. When you look at football videos, and it's women, and like whatever, they make a mistake, and of course it's a bias, right? It's like, oh yeah, women's football sucks. Like, well, it was literally illegal for women to play. What is it, like 40 years ago or something like that? Like, what do you mean? I mean, maybe a bit more, but of course the standard is not going to be the same, and even the rate that it's going now is insane. But things like that, just constant, and would just bug me, because I'm also not someone who's gonna let a comment go. If there's something that is wrong and it goes against my values, I'm not just gonna sit there and like be quiet. I have to like confront it, and that's why I would get into so many discussions like this, and that's why I think my anger would grow, because people just would make stupid comments or just don't see it from your side. So yeah, I think that's more of a cumulative state for me rather than having that one story.
I think I was sharing that with Jess over our lunch. I have a bit different perspective and experience with that, in the sense that I was lucky enough because I never lived through the moment where I felt like I was treated somehow different because I was a woman. Wow. I remember when I was doing racing, it was time when many women prior me put a lot of work into it. So by the time I came, there was like women series. There was a lot of support for women. I remember every time we would have, because I was racing in one race with guys, we were not separated, but sometimes after race would have common award ceremony and a separate women ceremony just to support women in their like first steps in the career, because I was like teenage athlete. I was always like in technical stuff, so it's like the field that is like less common for women, that I don't think nowadays like that, because I feel like if you would go to universities, there's still like more women are coming for education. I always was in the position that why not? Why wouldn't you go there as a woman, as a girl? And honestly, till today, I'm surprised when I get like new colleagues that are coming to me, and I'm the first thing they being connected to, because it's another woman in STEM, you know, like go talk to her. And it's not like from the bad side, but like supportive to get the community within the company. And every time they come and, so tell me, how's that, how women are treated here, you know? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they share all their bad experience, you know, from previous jobs, that they've been mistreated just because they're women. For me, it's nonsense. Like, it should not work like that. It scares women, and they don't see opportunity there. Because they're like, I wouldn't go there because I'm being mistreated and I don't have a chance to go there. While I'm sitting from the perspective, there's so little women, you should go there and be the first one to bring more women there and to normalize that.
It's very feisty.
And that's why you're on Feisty.
And you know what? That's an amazing attitude. And I know a few women, not loads, but I know a few women that have this mentality. And I wonder what society would look like if all women had this mentality. And I think that's the journey and growth that we need to go down. And I think it's amazing that you had a career, you know, racing cars, and you didn't feel the disadvantage, and you just went for it like amazing.
Yeah, you're like, okay, how do I really get into these male-dominated fields? Okay, racing, STEM, you know, it's awesome.
Initially, I was thinking that Jess came up with idea because I only heard her side, but actually the first message came from you.
You don't know this, but we both had different ideas. I reached out to Jess and I wanted to start a female collective. And my inspiration for this was that I wanted to learn how to knit. And we have a friend from football, and every time we had away games, she would sit in the back of the bus and she would knit. And I was like, oh my goodness, you have to teach me one day, because my mum refused to. And so that was my motivation. I thought it would be really cool to kind of set up a collective, because I know so many women, especially, who have these talents, and for them, they're just menial, and they just think, oh, this is basic. I've done this my whole life, or it's nothing special to them. But to other people, it's like it's a huge value that they would see in those talents, and they would want to learn them themselves. For example, Cinna, our friend, I was like, that's so amazing. She would just knit jumpers. And for her, it was so normal because she just grew up doing it, and, you know, she didn't see the value in it like I would see the value in it. And so I thought it would be really cool to set up this collective where you would bring women together And I didn't have all the details ironed out, but it would be a knowledge sharing and like a talent sharing based collective. So let's say 1 week we're like, okay, we're going to learn how to knit, or we're going to learn how to play basic chords on the guitar, for example, things like that. And so I reached out to Jess, and she basically said, I have a similar idea, just wait. No, I have a better idea, just wait. I have like a bigger idea. I think it was something like this on a whole new scale. Yeah. And I was like, oh, and this is the worst thing to tell me, because I'm the type of person
I didn't even tell you what it was.
No, you didn't tell me what it was.
It was like 2 months later.
So, and she was like, just wait. I was excited. I obviously had other stuff to do, so it was fine. And then Jess said, I want to start a women's only gym. And I was like, screw the collective. I was like, knitting? I was joking.
What dynamics do you feel like when you're working with each other? What do you like in each other, and what is like hell annoying?
We have very different points of view sometimes on like the visual side of things. So I'm a bit more unhinged in general, but in the beginning especially, both of us, it was new obviously, and you're so afraid in the beginning of doing a misstep, of pushing the audience too hard or making the wrong post, and you're just afraid that one problem or one mistake will have this snowball effect, and that's like a huge deal. And in reality,
what are your fears about that?
I don't know, like offending people or thinking that it wouldn't send the right message to the community, just things that perhaps wouldn't align with what we wanted. That would cause arguments.
I wouldn't say arguments, but I think that's the only thing, which is actually super impressive thus far, that we come from a different sides of the opinion. And it's like, how do we do that? I'm very, I think, direct, and I've had to be like, okay, Harriet's taken 2 days to produce this. I need to understand that how much energy and time she's put in, because I'm always focused on the brand and like questioning, can we do better? Can we do better? And sometimes that can be a lot. And I think it's like understanding, like we're talking about the product for Feisty and we've got to take the emotions out of it, but that's easier said than done. And you can't just take emotions out of it. So I think it's just acknowledging those emotions. But on the whole, I think I knew I wanted to work with Harriet before. That's why I was like, just wait, because we have, and we've spoken about this before, we have very different skill sets. And I think if you're going to go into business with someone, I think you've got to have the same core values so that when things get tough, you hold each other to those standards. But you got to bring different things to the table. And that's what I love about working with Harriet. Like, she is a creative powerhouse. The girl is a photographer. She's not a videographer, but she's being a videographer. She is a social media manager and edits and produces. I'm learning so much, and I love to learn from people. So I think that's why we work well together.
Yeah. It's actually crazy that we bring such different perspectives and talents to the board, but we align, I would say, like more than 90%, like 95% of our core values. And that's really rare, actually.
Also, there's just two of us still like making the decisions. We've had a lot of people help us and, like do different parts, but we can move quickly because 90% of the time we're on the same page. Yeah. And we're just like, go, go, go.
And she's dyslexic also. I'm like, it is, I always have this thought. I have to like go away and I have to come back to it. I'm like, okay, is it the dyslexia or is it,
just being Jess?
But it's valid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even when I was making posts before, like for our club, I would make posts. It's good to have that person who's like, well, this may look great, but you're missing the date or something like that, that you can just so easily oversee. So it's really good to have both sides, like the creative side and then like, oh, maybe this detail should be in there, or maybe this should be more visible because this is the main reason why we're doing it. And it's so easy, especially from the creative side, to like, get caught up on like the visual side only. So sometimes it's good to have like that check.
I would rather work with someone that cares. But if I worked with someone that didn't care, then what kind of person is that?
Well, it's like they always say in like relationships, for example, when you stop arguing, that's the problem, because you argue because you care.
Yeah, and we care.
And we care. Maybe too much.
Too much.
Yeah.
Does it feel like a project or more like your inner baby,
Yeah, this is a nice one. You go first.
It feels like I've been waiting my whole life to do this. Like all of the experiences have just been leading up to this. And yeah, It's both. It's a project. It's in some senses, because if you get so attached to it, maybe you don't make the right decisions. In the other senses, it feels like a baby, a sister, everything. So I think it could be both.
For me, I would say, this sounds really weird, but it just feels like it's a part of me. So I'm doing work and things, and then I'm like, okay, I have to do the feisty stuff. And that's really what my passion is. I feel like it's always been there somehow. It sounds really weird and cheesy, but it just feels so natural. I can't remember a time before this.
We're not doing this for money, and don't tell investors I said that. Obviously, it needs to be a business that works and makes money. Like, that's the bottom line. Without that, you don't have anything. But we both turn up to doing this. We haven't taken any money. We probably won't for many years. And
sorry, what? Is that in the contract?
We just want to do this. We want to turn up every day, and this is what we want to do for the rest of our lives. One day it'll be mission accomplished.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Coming back, there's a topic that bothers me in the community around the idea of, if you're starting your project, you should quit your full-time job to give you all energy into it and just go all in. And I've seen such situations. I have a friend who quitted his job just to start his own project. For me, it's a big bravery.
Mm-hmm.
I see also there's like a hard path to choose because you're fighting for your survival. But someone is choosing that because it kind of motivates them to do better. And there is other side that is also like, you can start your project while you have stability in your life. You don't need to quit your job just to start doing it. This side is closer to me personally. But I also was impressed when I met people on various like just meetups. And there was a guy who is like a CEO or someone like leading the startup. And he's like, yeah, we're not doing it. He was like, but if we fail, I just fire people and go to be a PM in some local startup or company. Like, I have the experience now. And for me, it was like, that's not a leadership for me. That's not a true founder who should be in front of the wheel, because you give up on yourself, on your idea, and on your people.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
He's doing it for money. That's the only reason, I think.
I don't know the backstory. Every person has their own reasons, and I don't know like the whole context there. Maybe it was just the lowest part of his life when he was just like feeling low. It's possible. There's different experiences, different perspectives, and I want to learn what's your take on this.
Well, I've done both now.
I was going to say, you can bring a very interesting perspective to the table.
I was living in Belgium. I was having a burnout because what I was doing was not aligned with my values, which is how burnout happens. Yep. I knew I wanted to do Feisty, but I knew I didn't have the creative mindset, passion, desire to like start with having stability. Otherwise, I probably would have tried to start a little bit, have the ideations and everything like this. I couldn't. I knew I needed to bring myself out, have that 3-4 months off doing nothing, and then the ideas would just start to come. Stephen Bartlett, he also says this. He says, there is only plan A. And in some senses, I completely agree. Like, if there is no other option and you've got to pour everything into it, I think that probably brings a success faster, and you've got to give it everything. But to be in that situation is very privileged. Like, you probably have to have a backup of something. You probably have to have savings that you will like live off, and to invest into the company as a startup. And I think most people don't have that luxury. I'm now in a position where that money did run out, and I'm lucky enough that I have a roof over my head. We're living with my wife's parents at the moment. We moved back from Belgium. We live in this world. You have to pay for food. You have a roof over your head. Like, what are you supposed to do? So I think fantastic if you can go for the plan A only and pour all of your energy into it. Most people can't do it. So find something that brings you the money, the stability, but you do your 9 to 5, and then you, before and after, you do it and you put everything into it. I think that's just the more realistic standpoint.
Especially in the world of social media, it's very much all or nothing, and we glorify this kind of hustle culture, which in some cases I think is relevant. You know, if you really want to build a brand or you want to found something, if you want to be a founder, whatever. But yeah, it's a hugely privileged take, and you do hear success stories, even for people who don't have those backups. And so they have friends who let them sleep on their couch, and then they have these crazy success stories. But what about the rest of the people who do that and it doesn't work out? Like, you don't really hear that side of the story that much. So obviously that would be the ideal situation. You have the money and you have the security to be able to pour everything into it. And then if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But yeah, I don't think it's very realistic. There's no right way, obviously. And I think it also depends a lot on what you're building. But for something like Feisty, it's just, we don't have investment. So that's the next huge block for us. So building up to that, we have a timeline and we have a roadmap, but it's not definite to say when you're going to hit those things. So yeah, to work indefinitely or not work indefinitely and work only on the project would be just insane. Yeah. I think even the amount of time that you were able to put in is really huge testament to where we are right now. Because if you did not have all that time to build everything that you built, to make those connections that you did, to make the plans that you were able to make,
we went a lot faster with me not working, with me not having a job.
We would probably only be starting events, we wouldn't be where we are with the connections that we have. Like, it was our 8th event and we had great sponsors and we had it in these amazing places because you were able to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not only because of your time, it's because of who you are as well and your talent that you bring. But if you had a full-time job, like, you wouldn't be able to dedicate as much time to that.
I always think, like, especially now that I'm trying to balance both, is that the single mothers that make it work, and the single mothers that are business owners. I'm like I'm not glorifying the grind. Like, I actually am one of these people that I'm like, I would love to have a work-life balance. Like, you can't have it all, but like, I'm trying, and they do it. And there is just a way. It's about prioritization on things.
We kind of outlined the jazz context, that you have the full-time job and you're combining it with the Feisty. I'm curious to understand your side, Harriet. How do you combine? Because you work as a photographer, the schedule is different, but you make a living out of it, right? How on your side it looks like?
Yeah, so actually I got pretty lucky, and it's also a very privileged position that I was in. So I work for a singer, Mikola, shout out.
This is the one who was in Eurovision 2018,
right?
Yes. I was crushing on it. Remember?
And he's also super nice, genuinely nice guy. Very authentic. But when it first started, actually, my dad used to work with him. And my dad asked, can I get a pass to take some photos? And he said, of course, why not? And then he said, can I get a pass to take photos for my daughter as well? And he said, of course, why not? I had taken photos as a hobby before, but I had never, it wasn't a job. So I said, okay, why not? It will be a cool experience. Even, it sounds stupid, but it's something that's like outside of your comfort zone. So I said yes, went, took photos, met him, who's super nice. And I remember he gave me a crew hoodie and I was like, I felt so special. I wasn't even on the crew anyway. And then edited the photos, sent them through to him. And he liked them so much that he contacted me. He's like, would you like to be my personal photographer? And then the rest from there is history. So I'm able, with him, I have like a retainer every month. So some months there's not a lot of work and other months it's really hectic. But that gives me the freedom to be able to go and find other clients, which is what I did before, but now to dedicate the rest of the time to Feisty, basically. Having that base is like a huge privilege, and that's the reason really that I'm able to do all of this.
That's so cool to hear such experiences. For me, it's always about observing a different perspective and seeing what's possible. That kind of like also helps you to remove the limits in your head.
That would be I think the ideal setup for a founder is to have like, I tried desperately to find a part-time job.
Yeah.
So you can be like, you have your stability. It might not be swings and roundabouts, but it gives you your money and your food and your rent. And then you have the rest of the time to just fully focus. But coming by those jobs is very difficult, especially if you're freelance. It can work really well, but if you don't have the skill to do something like that, it makes it a lot harder. But I think that's probably an in-between of what you asked, of going all in and having a full-time job, like coming up with something in between. I think that's the safest.
Also having a safety net. Like, I have a fiance who works a corporate job. She has a salary that could support both of us if something doesn't work, right? So that's another privilege on top of that makes it possible.
But I would like to also, from this high note, to take you to a different side talk about your midnight anxiety. What if someone tomorrow opens the same gym with the same vision? How would you feel about like Feisty and in general?
I mean, I'll be pretty bummed out, but we would still keep going. We'd just think, okay, what do we have to change? And how do we do this faster and better? Because it means so much to us and to our community. And I think that, competition also is good. Like if you think of it from a competition side, it's always good to have competition. It keeps you on your toes and it elevates you as well. But yeah, it would just suck because it's something that we've been working for. And we also know that it's such a relevant topic right now. And it's kind of inevitable. Like this is the time when these things are coming to Prague. I also saw, I think there's a non-alcoholic bar opening up in Náměstí Míru. So slowly Prague is getting to that level where the rest of Western Europe is. Yeah, so we're very aware of the time. And yeah, so that's, I think, also why it stresses me more.
It would definitely sting and take us a while to like, bounce back. But we are unique. There is not this team with this company. And I don't think anyone's going to do it in our way.
Yeah.
They might open a women's gym. That's possible, but not ours, not Feisty.
Actually, I have a better answer to what we would do. We'd go for the wine, we'd be sad, and then immediately we'd be like, okay, how do we turn this into content?
Yes, what she was saying.
What is our next post gonna be about?
Ooh, okay, I feel like mine is a little bit more practical because
Shocking.
I oversee the money and the events. So I think the most time that I get stressed is 3 weeks before or 2 weeks before an event and we haven't sold enough tickets and we've already agreed to certain things. So if we don't sell the tickets, we're going to lose money and it's coming out of both of our pockets. It's an unsettling feeling, I would say. Like when I go to sleep, like it's on my mind. And also I think like interpersonal things. There's a business, but then there's the relationships. We have people come to us already wanting to do some stuff with us for events. And we're still small, but people are coming and some things fit and some things don't fit. And we have to have that barrier to be like, look, this is not the right time for us. We love what you're doing. We support it, but not right now. And sometimes that doesn't go so well, even if we try to say it in like a good way. And I'm one of these people, like I do like people to be happy and I don't like to upset people. You are not doing a good enough job if you don't upset some people, basically. Yeah. And I know that. So I think it's like the interpersonal things that people question Feisty or our values, which are our values, so you're not just questioning the brand, you're questioning us. And I think those things also keep me up more than anything.
A big thing for us and one of our pillars is authenticity. So we're very aware that we want to seem authentic online as well. And we want things to look nice, but we also want to bring that side where we genuinely care and we're genuinely trying to make this space for our community. If it's event content, we want people to feel like they're back in the moment and we want it to feel empowering, but also a bit fun. So that's why sometimes we use certain visuals and we'll have something that's a bit more serious and then in the next slide we'll have something that's a bit more silly, because I think that's what we bring. Like we're serious about the things that matter and we care a lot, but then we also want to be approachable and we want to be fun and we want to be a safe space to be yourself. And I think not every company or community does that. So we don't want to be so like, yeah, we're empowered, we're strong, we're feisty, we can be this and this. We also want to have the other side where it's like, you can still laugh and you can still be afraid to get in the cold plunge and grab the person next to you and have this feeling together, If
I could reflect it back, it's exactly how I feel at all of your events.
Oh, really?
Yes. Honestly, the value that resonates for me the most is the sense of belonging and authenticity. You have a lot of fun and jokes that make it like welcoming and normal. But at the same time, you hold strong. You look like very serious personas. You handle the business and everything, but you're able to also be silly at the same time. And your attention to the details that you make. I still remember like my first event, the cupcakes that you cooked yourself, and you gave each member of the event bag in the colors of Feisty. And I was like, you don't need to do that.
We were like, we need something, and Jess was like, okay, it needs to this, and I was like, okay. And then she baked the freaking muffins, and then everybody loved the muffins. We're like, we have to keep doing the muffins. And we're like, yeah.
I actually cannot take credit. It was my wife's idea, and she said, why don't you bake the little cupcakes? And I was like, that's great. And then I came up with the protein muffin. I want it to still like have like that feisty like health element to it, and we do go above and beyond with the details. And I think that's because we're both perfectionists, but that's what people like. Every event, you want them to take away something more than they thought they were getting. It's like the McDonald's or KFC theory that they actually budget, that they give you the bag of chips with extra chips in the bottom of the bag. And that's all calculated in the cost just to make you think you got more for your value. And that's exactly what every single thing we do. We try to make sure people, even everything we write for the event, and we just keep some things off. So people think, I got extra value for this.
We want to bring elevated experiences. And that's also, what people take away physically as well as emotionally with them. And we want to do it in like cool places, and we want it to be a bit of an experience once you're there, not just going for dinner, but going for dinner on a tennis court and things like that.
We will go above and beyond in everything we do, and we enjoy it. We love it.
I want to say that like you managed to create that authentic place where women can learn new skills, new sports. You're doing rugby watching, cold plunge, running club, you're starting new hobbies, self-defense class. I missed that one, but I really wanted to go. You create space where you're able to build connections, just enjoy something new in a safe company. You're allowing the things and making it accessible to women that are usually common in men world. Like going and watching a rugby game.
That's really important to us. Trying something new, helping the community get out of the comfort zone, because sometimes we need a push, and if you don't have an amazing partner or family, or maybe that's not even your priority in life because you have other things, it's always cool to have a community that kind of like encourages you to do that, and believe in yourself a little bit more and things like that. Like, it's really important to us, so that's cool.
We just plan things that we love.
We're like, this sounds cool, let's do it.
Like my best friend was playing in the World Cup for the rugby, so I was like, we're gonna watch this, and then we just had this crazy idea.
I never even watched rugby before. So I was there like, we just explained the rules in the beginning.
Tried to.
I think you did rather well. I was also trying to listen to the rules because it's something that I had never done. But it's something that I think would be enjoyable and more normalized if people understood it more. But we don't have necessarily that pathway growing up where it's like, you go with your friends and you go there and then you just learn like innately or environmentally rather. So we make that environment where you learn it.
I want to bring up a bit of like other side of doing a startup. It's getting an investment. And everyone nowadays is investing into tech and AI. It's like two big topics right now. No one like looks into something else. At the moment it's deprioritized basically. And you are looking for an investor that not only would be able to invest into you and interested, but who would actually match your feisty values. Empowerment, female-focused, harmony, authenticity, and quality.
Safety.
That's an important one. I have a set of questions that I want to ask.
Go for it.
I will just jump right into it because it might be like a bit different shift in energy. But what do you need to open a gym in Prague right now?
Money.
How much?
Well, for our dream, 1 million euros. That's how much we need to be able to create our vision. We can, of course, create a gym with less money and it not, compromise on some things. And we could get more money and create an even bigger dream. But what we are asking for and what we are trying to get the investment for is 1 million euros. And we're going to start there. Yeah.
Do you know what investments are you looking for right now? Do you have some understanding?
What do you mean by what types of investments?
You can get investments from a fund, right? You can do crowdfunding when you can raise investments from the crowd, basically, and your members. Yeah. And also, I'm looking on it from the side, whether you know the profile of investor that you would accept.
We're open to lots of things, but where we're going right now is, and to tie back what you said at the start, everyone is investing in tech and AI. Any venture fund capital is not even going to take a second look at us. We know that. I think we're not living under a rock here. We need an investor that is going to be an angel investor, most likely, and it's probably going to be someone that aligns with the mission that has come to a Feisty event, feels the vision, feels the passion. Most likely is going to be a woman who has the money and believes and wants to be involved in the project. It's going to be a passion-led angel investor that we will have to start with. That is the first stage. We also potentially might do some crowdfunding, but this would be more from a marketing perspective than anything.
Would you accept the money from the fund where it would be like not only women, or it would be a fund which is like focuses on supporting
We'll accept any money.
We will, it doesn't have to be a woman. We've said that from the start.
Yeah.
If they, we meet loads of men who get it. We meet loads of men that don't get it. But if they get it and they understand the vision and they want to invest, we will take it. We would also take it from a fund. But I think it also comes down to, it's like a relationship, you know? It has to be the right fit. And I think both of us are strong enough with our values that even if someone offered us the money and they were not the right fit, we wouldn't take it because it'd be so short-sighted.
Yeah.
It would be very hard, but we would do it.
In theory.
No. Okay. Let's see when it happens.
Yeah. It's how we are. I think it really is. It doesn't make sense to go through everything the right way and then the final step for it to be against our values or just not the right fit. So,
but investor will come one day.
Yes.
And what if they would want to change something about Feisty? What you will not like compromise on? Absolutely.
I love this question, by the way. I'm also inspired by these two guys in England, Louis Blake and Harrison, who have been following their journey, and they're building this place called Long Lane, which is a members' wellness hotel and club. And their thing from the start has been that it will be no alcohol. And every single investor at the start said to them, you can't make a hotel without alcohol. It's what brings in a lot of money. And it was one thing that they were just not willing to compromise. And now it's a thing that is in every single PR newspaper that they are building a hotel without alcohol. And it was something that they stuck to with their values. And I think Harriet said it perfectly, to be honest. Like, we're not going to be changing that this is not a women's gym. That is open to all women, all identifying women. That's like the bottom line. And it has to have empowerment and safety. If it didn't have that, it wouldn't be Feisty.
I think if in terms of the physical space, what I could think of is we have an idea to make the layout as friendly as possible and try to make it an environment that feels welcoming and not like super harsh overhead lights and lots of steel, what you see typically as very masculine gyms. So if they would come in and say, yeah, we want everything to be yellow and steel, or, you know, is that something that we would compromise on?
And doing things like cheaply. Yes. You know, I think we're both like, if we're going to like, I've been told I actually met with the F45, one of the founders. They were able to scale so fast because it was like literally a room. They were like, do it cheap. Don't worry about the sound. Don't worry if you piss off neighbors. Like, ruthless, cut the costs. And that's not the business we want to build. We'd rather go slower and do it properly. Of course, the business has to make sense and you will have to make compromises on some things, but we don't want to completely shift to just doing things in a cheap way. We want to build a premium women's only health club.
What about like the childcare? So that's something that we really want. We really want to facilitate women coming and feeling empowered and working out, and we want to remove as many barriers as possible to that. So
yeah, that would.
What if they came in and said, "Hey, we're going to do it without childcare"?
That would be tough.
That would be probably one thing that would be big discussion.
Open a child care next door.
Behind them, but go to the same investor. Hey, another business idea.
I think the thing that a wrong investor might challenge is your bravery and freedom in the way how you express yourself. And that would be going against the main value of being feisty. Like, you know, don't be too loud, that's too much. And like...
share too much.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work.
I honestly think that what makes you work indeed.
Thank you.
I can't imagine an investor not understanding that aspect, because I think that is very much who we are and is very pertinent to what we're doing and what we bring to the table. So
lots of men, like if they're the wrong type of investor, like you said.
I understand, but then why would you invest in us? Because that is essential to who we are.
Maybe they see value in the business. Like it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
But we just wouldn't work.
Yeah, make it more polished, and we'd be like,
yeah.
Do we look polished to you?
You want to change how women feel about their body and themselves. How do you measure the impact of that? That's a tricky one.
This question, I was actually like,
I
was like, wow. I was like, do you want a KPI? I was like, this is a question. I really love the question. It was very thought provoking for me. Do you want
next?
No. I think it's a very hard thing to be able to quantify, and of course we're going to have like for the business like the KPIs and the metrics, but I will use the story of our last event. We had the cold plunge workshop with the sauna and everything. Harriet and I both had multiple people message us separately and say very similar things of, I've been going through a tough time and you have no idea how much this event meant to me. And if we stop hearing things like this and like the listening pods and like being involved in the business and hearing what people were saying, which will get more challenging the larger we get, then we're doing something wrong.
Yeah. One of the initial brainstorming sessions that we had about the physical space of the gym, when we were so naive thinking that it was really relevant that we did it right away, was that we wanted it to be a space where people feel like they are the community, like they are the gym, they are the health club. So we wanted to have boards around, and we wanted people to put in like suggestions, and we wanted to really involve the people, the women in it as much as possible. So we talked also a lot about having feedback, like boards or boxes or whatever, like a lot of this kind of like interactive stuff, so that people felt like they had a voice in the gym. And then if people do have concerns, they can pop them in there. Or if they say, hey, this makes me feel this way, I really like that, then we'll know, okay, we can start doing that more often, or we can, if it's equipment, we can get more of that. Things like that would be useful. And we're very much, we want to be as open as possible, and we want to communicate with the community as much as possible and get that feedback and really understand what the women want. So just kind of continue down that road. And of course it's going to be trickier when you get bigger, but that's something that's really important to us. So we will put steps in if it's going to be other people that we trust, other women who will go out and like reach out and say, hey, how are you doing? Like, how are you feeling about this? Then something like that.
I think everything is perfectly on point, and it also shows how you think about such things. And it's important. It's not always visible behind your product that you're creating. And making the transition to the next question. I know that I asked this before and I know the answer, but I'm curious whether your project is profitable. Because looking at the scale and level at which you're doing that, in my head, that's like the minus is huge.
We're in a positive.
Wow.
Well, I will explain. But right now we're in a positive. So we both invested a small amount to start up the company. That was the legal stuff, the branding, the website, the basics. So that's a budget. We did it. Fantastic. Obviously that was a minus, but we knew. Now the events is like where we started to actually have some income coming in. Our goal from the start was just try to get the events so we're not losing money. The first ones were free, so we lost money, but we borrowed and we tried to do everything as cheaply as we possibly could with still having the quality. And now our events are getting like a little bit bigger, and we realized very quickly like we don't want to charge huge amounts because we're building a community. We want it to be as accessible to people. We're not doing the events to make money. We're doing them to build a community, to have credibility, to show the traction so investors will invest. But we just can't get ourselves into a hole of debt. And we realize we have to start asking for things for free and negotiating and saying like, this is our mission. Do you want to be involved? Can you help us? And often people are actually offering us free stuff before we have to ask. So now we're in a position that we are actually like just positive.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yay.
Yeah. I think our last event was the first event that we really made more money than we
lost.
Did we? The first ones we lost money, then we were like not making any money, but we weren't losing money, and now we're starting to make some money.
Yeah.
I think it's a high note where I want to wrap things up with 5 quick questions. Which phrase recently changed your perspective on life?
I think my biggest revelation has been recently is asking for free things. Like it's been something that's just very uncomfortable for me to do. And I know some people do it fantastically and they're just like, you know, no shame. But for me, it's been very hard to do. And I have a business coach who's amazing. His name is Danny. And he's just like, he just has no bullshit with me. He's like, you are not going to make a company like this. You'll get into debt and what you're going to do about it. And it was just like the realization, like the slap in the face that I needed to hear. And it's helped us with the events. Like our last, we were able to give away all the goodie bags, you know, everything we were given for free.
Yeah. From great companies too.
Yeah.
Okay, mine is kind of double-barreled, but I won't go on. One would be understanding more that what I can do is like valuable, I guess, kind of accepting that. And also the importance of the people around you, and not only like your network and what they can bring you, but just support in general. And I've always known it, but the older I get or the more we go down this lane, the more grateful I am really for the people around us and friends, family, and things like that. Yeah.
Good answer.
Awesome. Thank you. I know it's hard to like, you know.
Yeah. Did you see the stress in our eyes? Great question though.
Finish sentence. A woman should never apologize for
anything.
I was going to say full stop.
Full stop.
I agree with that.
Well, maybe if you do something wrong, you should probably apologize. Yeah. I'm not
murder. Maybe would be one.
It just saying sorry, bumping into someone in the streets. You know, just don't apologize. Late for a meeting, do not apologize. Say thank you for waiting. No, say thank you for waiting.
You don't apologize if you were late to a meeting?
No. Try not to. It depends who it is, probably.
Yeah.
If it's a man, no. I am unapologetic when it comes to men. I get a kick out of it.
I cannot imagine you in a professional setting not apologizing for being late.
Even more in a professional setting.
But you're an employee. Cannot imagine you rocking up and
waiting for me.
Yeah. But you're late. It's your fault.
Thank you for waiting for me.
See, this is where our values
I'm learning to be Jazz, honestly. I'm learning to be Jazz. Because I'm Harriet right now. Sorry.
If I'm late or something, I feel terrible and I would be apologetic. All right. I'll let you have it. For me, it would be apologizing for, I want to say being who you are, and obviously there's a range, right? If you're just going around and killing people and being unapologetic about it, that's a different level. But yeah, for being authentic and who you are and saying how you feel, I think so many women are afraid to do that. So yeah.
It's 2 a.m. You can't sleep. And that's a whispering in your ear. You will not make it. One word that you would whisper back to those voices.
Bug off.
I was saying fuck off, but it's 2 words.
Just one phrase.
You can do it. We're going off topic here, but we talk about like the vulnerability. I think maybe me more like, can we do this? You know, and it maybe doesn't come at 2 a.m., but it comes in certain like elements. And we have to like check ourselves. If we do not have the mentality that you are doing this, we had to keep changing our terminology. Not we're trying to do this, but like when we do this, when we do this, not if, but when. And that's like a massive like mindset shift. You have to be crazy. You have to believe in yourself 100%, 110%. Because if you don't, no one else will. We're all human and it does happen, and you just have to like remind yourself. And I think the more you train and have this habit of telling yourself you can do it, then it will start to come. And we're still not there. It still comes.
Mm-hmm. Obviously in the same vein as that, but it's more like, I don't want to say if I don't think it's not going to succeed, but at the small possibility that it will not, we will just build something else that for women that they want. It's not like our life is going to end. We're just going to kind of pivot and then do the same thing with the same values.
We have a plan if we don't get investment. We have to start. It's what we're doing. We're starting small. We'll start with weekly classes with a studio that's not our own. Then we will have a small studio. Like we will go the brick by brick way to get there. But obviously we have a big dream and we're ambitious, and we're going to, just like all of our events, we're going to go head first.
Yeah. It's also good to like check yourself sometimes, because it's so easy to doubt and like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? What is this? And then you think about, oh, look at where we are right now. Look at what we've done. I don't know, just like having the shirt on you and like going to our page and seeing what we've done and who is supporting us, that really quickly can snap you out and think, no, it's like, it's possible. So that's also one thing that I like to do, like grounding yourself a little bit.
And I think I just got an answer to my next question. What would you build if nobody judged you and there were no obstacles? You just named it. So the last one, the closing. So I want to like create this founder's playbook basically. And I want you to add a line there.
Love it.
What's the mindset, rule, or principle you would pass to every beginner founder in Europe?
Oh my gosh, I have so many things that I want to say. Can I have two?
Yes.
The first one that comes to mind is, well, my favorite quote is, turn up every day as a woman that would inspire you. And I think it motivates me on days that I'm not feeling so motivated, that like to really like push and like dig deep. And then a more practical one of, and it comes back to the other one, just do it. Like, do not overthink it. Like, just go. I know so many people that like perfecting the idea, and ideas are nothing. Execute and just go for it.
Yeah. Mine would be similar to that, basically, that there's no right time. You just have to start. Even if you don't have everything, even if it's scary, even if you're not, I mean, obviously you should have the fundamentals and the basics of what you want to do, who you are, whatever. But yeah, there's never going to be like, oh, here's the perfect opening. You know, you just have to kind of go for it and then like work hard to keep up. And also find someone who's really helpful and talented to help you or to do it rather, you know. No, but yeah, finding somebody else who's on the same wavelength and yeah, has those different skills is also great. But yeah, just go for it. Be brave, be feisty.
Why didn't we say that?
Should have said that.
Just go for it, be feisty. That's our line together.
3, 2, 1.
Just go for it.
Just go for it.
Don't be feisty. I said don't be feisty.
That's it. That's a wrap.
Thank you, girls. That was amazing. I really enjoyed spending time with you. And it was Let's Make It Clear podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and follow the channel. If you're listening us on Spotify, don't forget to rate the podcast. It helps a lot to spread a word about amazing founders that we have here in Europe.
No, thank you for having us, really.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
I'm happy you're doing this. I'm proud of you that you're doing this. And I think it's a really good fit for who you are.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to learn a lot in the process. I think it's the best thing that you could do. And I can't wait to listen to the other people that come on. And when this founder's playbook is printed, we'll buy it. It could be another product that you could sell.
Yeah. We're doing business here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You did a really good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done.
And this setup.